Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and whatever time of the day you're listening to this podcast. This is the Iron Asylum podcast. I have Jules in today, a very special guest of mine. He's a very decorated character, as you can see. There's been a lot of good and bad things said about him. But look, Jules has been a very close mate of mine over the years. And look, I know him as a person. He works hard in everything he does. He's got a supreme talent. And for me, why I'm getting Jules on this podcast today is he's a character, right? He's a person I kind of look to and kind of brightens up my day, and someone I want in today just for a general conversation. Sure, I've had people on this podcast for business and sporting things and et cetera, but Jules has kind of covered all those areas in his own right, starting things off from professional soccer, MMA, stints in bodybuilding. So, Jules, welcome today.
Thank you, Sam.
How you been, man?
I've been good, man. It's been way too long. Put
that forward a bit.
Is it? That's all right.
Yeah, look, I really wanted to make today because you and I haven't caught up in a very long time.
No.
And as you know, today you said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, dude, you know what? I just want to have you on.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people see me laugh. You know, not a lot of people can make me laugh. I'm too serious. You know, I get told a lot. I get my ass ripped in half because saying, "Oh, show a bit more of your personality, etc., etc." But not many people actually make me laugh. Where
people say you don't have a personality.
I'm too serious. I get told I'm too serious. You know, I guess I'm a serious cat.
Sam doesn't like you. If you, there he is. He's easy to make laugh. You just got to be honest with Sam. If Sam doesn't have any personality with you, and if he's too serious, he doesn't like you.
That's probably speaking to 99% of people then. But no, what's been happening, bro? What's been going on? I want to get you in today because we're going to talk on the phone. That actually cut you off. I said, you know what? I don't want to talk to you on the phone just out of fucking nowhere. I'm just going to get you on my podcast.
Yeah.
Because, you know, everyone has questions with you, dude. You know, like everyone, you know, when you get brought up in a conversation down the track, whatever it is, you know, people know you for different things, you know, and I've known you for different things over the years, but I just know you as Jules, you know, and because I see you as Jules, yeah, dude, I just look at you and I say, fuck, man, like, you know, you're always up to something. You know, so what's going on in your fucking neck of the woods?
Dude, this is probably the first time I haven't actually been up to anything. I've been really quiet, just been like, I kind of like just, as you would have noticed, I sort of got off in social media for a long time and started focusing on just living life, just a normal life. I don't think I've ever just sat back and tried to just live normality for a very long time. It had always been sort of sport, or it had always been, you know, something, you know, creative or artistic, you know, and I just never have actually just like gone to work and just enjoyed sort of just not doing anything at all, like committing. When I say that, I mean like I'm physically doing stuff, but my mind and my heart isn't 250% like invested emotionally, physically and chemically inside, you know, something. You know, I just sort of just relaxed my mind, you know, for the longest period of time. This is the longest I've sort of just not done anything that's gonna consume me.
And that's why I wanted you on here today. That's why I wanted you on here today. Because even though I make the joke that, you know, you can make me laugh, et cetera, but you never seem to be stressed about shit. You know, I know you've been under pressure in a lot of situations, right? But, you know, I look at someone like me where I'm a stressed dude. I've got a lot of things going on all the time. Where with you, man, you always, you know, with your stresses in life, you know, you've had some big ones we can talk about today. And you always seem at peace with yourself. You know, like you're always happy doing your thing. You know, you follow what you want to do. You don't really give a fuck about what everyone has to say. You know, it could be people, you know, in your sport and the media, whatever it is, doesn't really matter what it is. You run your own race. You never really seem to give a fuck, which is why you can just easily switch off social media, which I notice you do, because out of nowhere you just disappear, and then I'll get a follow from Jules. I'm like, fuck, he's back online again. You know what I mean? Where you just run your own race, dude. And to me, that's why I wanted you on today, because I I can have top bodybuilders, I've had doctors, I've had life coaches, I've had all these things, but for people to actually be in touch with themselves and be able to switch off and just focus on them and be happy, you know? So in the day of the life of Jules, you know, what's going on today?
Man,
what's next for you?
Well, man, I'm trying to, there is something coming. There's always something. There is something I'm working towards. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to sort of talk about it because I'm practicing a new skill that I have where I don't talk about what I'm going to do. I just do it. I don't promote what I'm going to do. I just do it. I feel like my biggest, you know, and like you said, like I'm human. I've been medicated for mental illness for the longest time. I can't off the top of my head tell you how many years. It's maybe like 15, 16 years medicated for mental illness. I have, you know, a lot of stresses and stuff for myself. But I think I'm very blessed that from a very young age, you know, I was guided very, very, very military by my father to be a winner, to be a champion, to be positive, to be strong. My father, being from a small island in Mauritius, is at the bottom of Africa. He had nothing growing up. You know, his parents left him, abandoned him when he was a young child. So he would just bash my ears as a kid of like, you know, how grateful I should be for what I have.
But did that work for a positive or negative against you in certain areas? Because
both.
Dude, I know, man, you're a rebel, right? You're a rebel with your, you know, you're the rebel against society, right? Bit of a bad boy that's going on there. But with, say, for example, like I know you, not a lot of people would know this, but you were playing pro soccer over in Europe.
Yes.
Right? But I also know as well you're a fucking mean skateboarder.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure you fucking, I'm sure your old man didn't know about that. If he's listening now, I'm sure he didn't know about it.
No.
Now, so tell us a bit about that.
So yeah, I was very, my father was very military, you know, coming from, you know, South Africa. He was very, very military with sort of how he brought me up and, you know, wanted me to be the best at, you know, I was on like military schedule as a child. I got pulled out of school at a very young age. I think I only completed grade 7 and or something like that. I attended grade 8 and didn't finish. So he always put sport first before education, before anything. And I loved skateboarding. It was, you know, the mid-90s was kind of like, you know, if you didn't have a skateboard, but imagine the kids today without a pair of Jordans and a gym membership. That's what having no skateboard would be like. It would just be strange, you know? So it was, you know, I had to hide my skateboard from my father. That's, you know, my best friends used to take my board home because if he found out I had a skateboard and I would come off and break a bone or something like that and couldn't attend any of my training sessions or whatever, like, you know, I'd be in big trouble. So skateboarding was something that I absolutely loved growing up, but it was a secret. It was top secret.
Top secret.
Yes.
So how did you kind of manage that top secrecy? Because obviously we say your father, he'd have a lot of expectation onto you.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people have expectations from their parents, their partners, their kids, or whatever it is, you know. And you obviously got over at soccer at some point.
Yeah.
How'd you break it to him? It would have been hard.
I don't think he spoke to me for like maybe 6-7 years.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Just getting deeper, you know, deep is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck, man. Like, you know, for you got to be following what you're good at and what you love doing.
Yeah.
And I say it to everyone, man. You know, like you should never have to explain yourself. But at such a young age, like sure, us now, it's fine to say that, but at such a young age with that expectation, and he probably would have put a lot of time and money into yourself. He probably would have felt a sense of guilt going on there.
Yeah.
But if it's not your passion, it's not your passion. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's your passion, you know?
I think it was. I think like everything, it becomes.
Sure.
Yeah, and you forget, and that's something that is a skill, man. It's an absolute skill to have. I know. You know, I envy that. I envy that in people. I don't know. I haven't learnt how to not allow something to become sickening, whether it be friendship, whether it be love, whether it be sport, with anything that I love. Like, I haven't been able to learn how to not let it become sickening. And back to the original question is like, why I'm practicing a skill right now where I don't talk about what I'm going to do until it's done, simply because I get too much love for things that I do. I get too much respect too soon for things that I do. And it's really easy to win. For me, people say it's hard, but it isn't. Like, I get so much applaud for stuff that I attempt to do long before it's accomplished. And I feel like that sense of accomplishment early takes away from what it, from finishing it. And I feel like I get that reward. I feel like I'm rewarded before I deserve that reward. And then the fine, like, making it to the finish line always seems to feel like it's already done. I've already made it, and that's just me being honest. And I'm sure there's a lot of athletes and a lot of people out there that can relate to that.
I love doing that shit. Yeah. I love coming out with things that I don't ever tell people what I do. People always think I'm up to something.
I know you're good at it, and
people always think I'm low key competing. People always think I'm low key doing this, low key doing that. And they talk. I
think you're low-key competing right now.
And people say, I know he's doing this, or he's probably doing that, or whatever it is. And, my favourite saying is, keep him guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that shit, because whether they talk positive or negative about you, they're still talking about you.
One of the biggest things I love about you, Sam, and I know this isn't about you today, but like like you said, we haven't caught up in so long, and like I haven't been able to sit here and talk to you and tell you that, but ever, I don't think. But the biggest weapon you have is you it's the same before you stress and that. But dude, you're one of the mentally strongest I've ever met in my life. Dude, you are one of the greatest athletes I have ever been able to sit down. And I can name drop here right now. I can name drop you. All the many champions, many different sports in at many different levels, whether it be from the UFC, whether it be bodybuilding. I spent a lot of time in Texas. I met and California, and I met a lot of pro bodybuilders that you aspire to, you have looked up to your whole life. And I met you back in 2016, and I know I've met these guys, right? You are a fucking different beast when it comes to who you are as a person, mentally and emotionally, as a fucking athlete. Dude, you are one of the greatest fucking athletes I've ever met. And I have met a lot of fucking people.
I think it's hard. It's hard for people to say I don't take compliments well, because you can be so hard on yourself because you're always striving for more. And yet you tend to forget that. You tend to forget the appreciation of yourself and how far you've come. So it's like happy but never satisfied.
Yeah.
And I've had to kind of take that step and roll in and just be content of the things that are in front of me, man. Like having a daughter, having a dog, having my gym up and running, my business and people working under me, and kind of seeing everything kind of grow and roll through, and still being a bodybuilder on top of those things. It's hard to sit there and say, oh yeah, I've actually, I've done quite a bit and kind of kept my head strong the whole way through.
Would you say you've taken time off like I have and just mentally just stepped away? Did I?
I did a lot of work on myself.
Because you did stop being as active as you've obviously being right now. Right before this, I remember.
You got to fall in love with it again.
You went quiet.
You got to fall in love with it again. It's like you when you stepped away from fighting and came back. Like it's you got to fall in love with it again. It becomes toxic. Anything of something becomes toxic. If you hang out with your missus 24/7, it's going to become fucking toxic.
Yes.
If you work all day every day, it becomes toxic. If I'm with my kid all day every day, it's going to become toxic. Yeah. And bodybuilding for me, although I've kind of kept a good headstrong mind about it, bodybuilding's always been a hobby for me, and I had to kind of remember what that was. It's a hobby, dude. Something I love doing. And I think that's why when you say I'm mentally strong, because I don't put the pressure on myself like everyone else, and I just let it just roll through. That's why when people say like, "Oh, you're competing because I'm looking good," and probably the best I've ever looked in my whole career right now.
I agree.
But it's just because I'm just training again like I was 17. Training like I used to read the Flex magazines and just training to, you know, I love just doing all that kind of stuff again. You know what I mean? There's no pressure on me at the moment. I'm just kind of rolling through, and it's a law of attraction, dude. People tend to come into your life, and opportunities tend to come. And you know, I've got a few things going on here with the gym that I'm sure people would love to know that I can't announce just yet. And it gets those people in the background talking, you know. But I've always fed from negativity. And people say, oh, that's a hard way to look at it, you know. But, you know, I face myself. A lot of people don't like the person they see in the mirror. That's why they always have a lot of people around them. That's why they've always got a missus or a boyfriend, or, you know, they've always got friends around them. They've got new friends every few months or whatever it is. A lot of people don't like to actually sit there and kind of look at themselves in the mirror and talk to themselves in the mirror. And I know it kind of sounds weird, but I'll go right up to them face to face like I'm going to, you know, fight myself sometimes. Mm-hmm. And if I'm stressed about something, you know, I'll say it out loud to myself and talk to myself and how I'm going to get out of it. Like if you came to me right now and said, I'm stressed about this and this, I'd say, all right, what do you want to do? And if you listen outside my office, you probably hear, what the fuck's who's he talking to in there? Is he talking to himself? But I do that because when you say it out loud and you're facing the person that you're most fearful of, which is yourself.
That's
You like that one or what?
I love that. I love that. I've got the, 100%, man. And for those of you who don't know what Flex magazine is, because Instagram has...
What magazines is that, yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's, you dropping that was like, dude, that's OG credit right there. That you just stole the OG crown right there. I don't know many people that are still buying Flex magazine.
It's all magazines are kind of fading out now.
Yeah,
it's all
I know,
online.
but it's funny because there's a lot of young up and comers now that would be like, "What is that?" You know, but that was that was how you would see and learn, like how our heroes were training, what they were eating. That's where you would look at a photo of Flex and think, "Oh, he just walks around like that all year round."
People think you walk around that video.
Yeah.
You know, for you as a fighter. That would probably, for me, that's what most people would know you for as a fighter, right? And me as a bodybuilder, that's what people mainly know me for. Mm-hmm. And they see the knockouts, or they see the wins, and they see you living in America, training with all the top UFC boys. They see me on an Arnold Classic stage with all the top bodybuilders. They see me, you know, with my career and going really well with my coaching and making the money and drive the nice car and live in the Gold Coast, and, you know, I got a beautiful child, nice dog. Like, that paints a pretty picture for people, and it sells people that picture until they step in the office and they fucking realize what has to be done.
Yes.
You know, like, dude, I used to love boxing when I was a kid until I got fucking punched in the face. I didn't fucking like that. And that's why I'm not a fucking fighter. Like, oh yeah, okay, I worked in the clubs, and people can say, oh yeah, I saw Sam do this and do that and whatever. But, you know, really, dude, like if someone could really take a hit, I was fucked. Like, let's be honest, you know, and really as a fighter, all of these guys with their fucking heads caved in and they're smiling after a fucking match. I'm like, fuck, I don't want that to happen to me. So people don't understand what actually has to really happen and go down to be where it is, you know, and for you, I'm sure you would have experienced it yourself, you know, oh man, you know, you're awesome, you're this, you know, and, no one actually knows the blood, sweat and tears behind the scenes.
No one promotes, you know, the hard times or the shit.
What's it like cleaning up your fucking blood and guts after a fucking fight, just recovering? Like, it's,
dude, you know what?
So you just like your last fight I came and watched in 2016. You lost that fight.
Yes.
He outdid you through jiu-jitsu. I thought you were going to knock him out. Like, it was
What was the plan?
Oh, dude, your strike rate, man, is just fucking, seriously, it's awesome to see. And I was sitting there next to fucking Aaron Pilates in the crowd, and I'm like, fuck, man, he's gonna, because he knew his game plan, you knew yours. You're a striker, grappler, right? And there's a few times there he got up and just fucking like that was it. I'm like, oh, he's got him. That's it. You know, he just miraculously got into that position. I'm like, fuck this guy. You know, like, because look, I respect BJJ, but I'm not a BJJ guy. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm much more of I like boxing. So when I watch MMA, I like to see the striking of MMA more than I like to see BJJ, which I'm sure you would know that with many people, right? People have their styles that they like, you know. But you're cleaning yourself after that fight and you've lost that fight, you know, that'd be a shit feeling, dude. Dude,
it was one of the greatest feelings that I ever experienced in sport. Funnily enough, people are just chemically wired differently to others. One of the greatest feelings, maybe it was the greatest feeling I ever had in sport, just simply because I knew who I was facing, and I have never taken an easy fight. Every single fight that I've ever took, I was supposed to lose. And that's how I like to take my fights. I like to take fights that I'm supposed to lose. So I'm never going to lose. You know, it's never a loss. So every single thing that I've tried to do in life, I've tried to take things on. If there's a chance that I can win this thing, I'm not doing it because there's a chance I could fucking lose. You know, so why would I do that? That's embarrassing as fuck. No, that's heartbreaking as fuck. You know, so I'm only ever going to take the hardest fucking battles simply because, not because I'm a fucking hero, not because I'm He-Man, but because I will rise to that, you know, occasion, you know, or I will work harder. It'll bring the best out of me. And that's what this is about. That's what life has always been about. And that's what fighting has always been about. And for every, for every doubter and non-believer that I ever had or hater that I ever had in my career, I'm unapologetic. You know, I took the hardest battle. You can say what you want, but the guys you're supporting right now who you love that are undefeated, well, go have a look at who they fought. You know what I mean? Go have a look at who they're fighting. You know, but the guys that I fought were badass motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had my losses. Those motherfuckers beat everybody. Everyone lost to them. You know what I mean? But when I took that fight, I trained to win, you know, but I knew that, in the eye of the holder, the promoter, the company, you know, the spectators, I'm supposed to lose that fight. So to make a guy struggle as hard as I made him, and scared as I made him, and worried as I made him, and nearly knocked him out multiple times. I don't know how he kept coming back, like you said.
You actually knocked him down a couple times.
A few times, yeah.
I remember you knocked him down. I'm like, if he gets up, he's fucked.
There was a time where I seen his eyes roll back in his head, stand on his feet. You know, he's a tough guy, and that's why, you know, that's why no one wanted to take that fight. And that's why I put my hand up for it, you know, and that's why I wanted to fight the guy. But, you know, he, you know, helping him up off the canvas after he beat me, and he couldn't get up, and I had to help him up off the canvas. That was the best feeling ever. Is that he would never want to fight me again after that night. Yeah. Even though he won, if someone said, "Would you rematch Jules?" He'd be like, no. "Fuck no." Do you know what I mean? And that's what I like. You know what I mean?
I have a similar story. As an amateur bodybuilder, I lost 3 shows. I got second, a third, and a second. Every other show I won. So I never even got outside of top 3, you know what I mean? So I blasted through it. And really, look, the competition today is a lot harder. I didn't have a lot of competition for what it was back then. And then you talk to other people and they say, "No, you were pretty good." But I'm like, no, I would have liked to beat some really, really good guys. Don't get me wrong, there was a few good guys that I did verse, you know, like, and I beat, and I was happy I beat him because it showed that I was good. But I would have liked to have a tougher lineup, but that wasn't the satisfaction for me until you get last call out your first Arnold Classic, and you walk backstage, and all these guys on the Flex magazines I was telling you about are standing there looking at you. Yeah. Well, they're not really looking at you because they don't even know who you are. They're all talking to each other. You know, just the outside, you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, you're I know bodybuilding, you don't get knocked out, but you're still walking out there to get judged by everyone and everyone to see and who you're competing against, and you're kind of a bit delusional because you're like, oh, maybe I might get like a second call out or something, but your fucking last call out, you know, and you're just sitting there and last call, it's the participation award, you know, like, oh, come on, hurry up, come out and just do your round, you know. And that, at that point in time, that scarred me massively, but in a good way. As you said, it was disappointing when I walked off stage, but when I woke up the next day, it was the best feeling I ever had coming out of it, because knowing that I did everything I possibly could, and that's where I was, you know, it's like you got to push harder than that if you want to be the best and verse these guys. You know, you got to push harder than that. You got to sink to a different realm, and then, you know, coming back the next year and making the progression that I made, hit 7th in an Arnold Classic, which I was really proud of myself with, in the way that I changed my physique. But even when people come backstage, they go, "Oh wow, man, you know, I had your 6th or 5th or whatever it was," and it was probably a bit arrogant to say at the time, but you know, I said, "Oh look, you know, it doesn't really matter, you know, like, oh, you know, you deserve this." Like, doesn't deserve anything. If I didn't win, you're a fucking loser. You know, like, and that's what people still say to me today. Like, "Oh yeah, you know, yeah, great, you know, I did this, I did that," but yeah, you didn't win. Like, he was like, "Oh, I want to do this to have fun." Well, winning is fun. You know, like you can learn from your losses, and you'll make the best progression you ever make from your losses. But no, I'll never go out and celebrate my fucking losses. I remember I sat there the morning after the Arnolds, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, you were right, like you were good," because I was a bit upset that night, and it wasn't more upset. It was just because, you know, you put so much work into something, and you kind of come out and you go, "Fuck, like maybe I don't have it," you know. But you get all the talk from the right people. You know, I had Jay Cutler reach out to me the next day after my first Arnold's, and that just fucking blew my mind. I remember my second Arnold's, like Sean Roden and Cedric McMillan, they came up to me like I didn't even think they knew who I was, and I just kept, like, Cedric was talking to me, and I just kept walking thinking he's just talking to the dude behind me, until he pulled me up and said the things he had to say, and all those things that kind of say to yourself, you're like, wow, that's really cool. So no matter where I come, you know, I'm going to be really happy with what I present, and I know I put everything into it. And I think what people have to understand is that, you know, you must be always fighting to win no matter what, you know, like you get, wherever you come, win, lose or draw. My thing is that when I put everything into bodybuilding, if I don't win a pro title, or I don't make it to the Olympia stage or whatever it may be, you know, you need to make sure you can walk away and say, have I given it 110%? Because you don't want to be that old man at the pub sitting there one day saying, "Oh, I could have, should have, would have."
Look, and this is the important thing for everyone that's listening. In this situation is like, you've got to look at what you've attempted, like what you've actually done. You know what I mean? What you actually came in there and actually done, and the challenge you accepted, or the what you've actually, you know, taken on here. And the reason why I've always thought you're just a fucking gangster, is just an absolute fucking OG, is because you have literally, and I don't know if you don't have a choice in it, is the shit thing for you, but you've taken on the hardest fucking battles, like the hardest stage, you know what I mean? And the hardest fights. And you were just, that was chose for you. You know what I mean? A lot of people have their choice though, Sam. Like a lot of people have a choice, and they can, you know, you see it today. You see guys that can do really well in opens, like starve themselves to a classic physique because they're too scared to.
Yeah, and look, I understand you got to be strategic as well, right? I've been told by, you know, pros here in Australia and overseas, you know, you got to pick your shows. I get that.
Yeah,
you know, like going to an Arnold's where the top 6 guys are on the Olympia stage. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to beat any of them. Like that's just not going to happen.
But will it bring the best out of you?
Of course it will.
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
And that's why I do it, because now,
and that's why
when people say to me, "Oh, I think he's competing. Oh, he's doing this or he's doing that." I'm not competing. Because I've seen what's out there. You know, I've seen it in the flesh.
But are you competing?
I will be competing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But am I competing for a show right now? Fuck no. Like I've seen what's out in the flesh. When I say I'm scarred, those images of when you walk backstage and you see what's there, pardon me, I know the standard. And if one of them turn up to a show, I've picked this strategic show, California Pro. You know, I might come in and, you know, I can, you know, a few guys did this week, but a few guys from Arnold's, they could turn up. And what if they do turn up? Well, your second call out again. You know, so you can't rely on strategies. You've got to be able to say, you know what, can I compete against these guys? Not necessarily beat these guys, but can I stand up there with them and be competitive?
Do you think, honest question, because I don't know, and I'm asking this question, like, do you think here in Australia we're lacking that mentality?
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
People don't get into bodybuilding for the right reasons. This is what I originally said to you with getting into fighting for the wrong reasons. I didn't get into fighting. Why? Because I know when I got fucking hit in the face, I'm like, fuck that, I don't want to do that. I don't get my fucking head punched in and walk out in a ring and for everyone to see for my head to get punched in, even if you win.
Yeah.
Your head's still fucking getting punched in. And it's the same thing when these young guys, young girls, and they all come and they go, I want to compete, you know, fucking, but you know, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that.
I can just picture, like for me, seeing the younger generation right now, and like these, like, you know, these younger kids that are like, I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to look like he looks. I want to drive the Range Rover down the Gold Coast Highway. You know, I want to have that smoking hot girlfriend. I want to walk around at the pavilion with lip gloss on and fucking frosted tips in my hair and the tightest jeans and shirts that don't fit. And I mean, like, too small for me. So I look bigger than I am. I want to look like that. I'm going to get a gym membership. I need a coach. Who's the best coach on the Gold Coast? Who's the biggest pro? Like, who's a big dude who could transform me? Someone with lots of muscle. Big person, Sam Pearce. So they you know where I'm going with this, don't you? You already know, because this is you know, this is, and I'm rewinding back to your World Gym era, Sam Pearce World Gym era, right? And they come into World Gym and they go, and this, to be honest, this may be why you got out of the commercial industry, right? And it's like, oh, I want Sam Pearce to. Can you coach me? I want to look like that guy. I want to look like that guy that on this guy on Instagram here with the tan and the white teeth. I want to look like him, right? And then they go, and then you go, sure, bro.
Yeah, no worries.
No problem. Yep. You know, we'll do a person straight up. Like, don't do nothing. Like, let's do a session. And then Monday comes around and they train with Sam Pearce and they realise bodybuilding is not for them. Yeah. And they're never coming back.
They're never coming back.
You've abused. You've abused this person.
And this is the problem. People will go to people they want to hear shit from, you know. Like, I've had it so many times over the years where people will go to other coaches or they'll... But Sam,
they have to try to reason. Back to what they were saying before is that's what they see. They see all the great things. They see all the good. They see all the pretty things that get posted on Instagram. But they don't see, you know, like, I think you should post a photo of you in the middle of prep trying to take a shit, you know, like trying to take a healthy shit, you know, and then when they see how hard that is, that's the hardest and most vascular you have ever been. You got veins in your forehead. You're breaking a sweat. That's the kind of shit they need to see. And both bodybuilders know what we're talking about right now.
It's a hard life, bro.
And then I don't know if they'd want that life.
Dude, it's like, that's what I mean. There's a lot of fucking food, man. There's a lot of training. And that's what I mean. Like, I know we're talking on the bodybuilding realm, but we can say in the fighting realm. When you're playing football in Europe, you know, like, people see you striker, score the goals, like no one sees the hard work that goes behind all of this shit, man. And, you know, it's not for some people, but for me, I've just always kind of loved the lifestyle of it. Yeah. The lifestyle's kept me out of trouble. It's kept me on the straight and narrow with things, you know, which that's what I owe so much to. And that's why I kind of keep it there for my own structural purpose. Whenever I've competed because I felt I've had to compete, they're the shows I lost as an amateur. funny that, where the shows I won and blitzed and didn't really have a challenge against me.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones I was just doing it because I love doing it.
Yeah. And trying to be the best you, not better than anybody else, but the biggest you could be.
The problem with bodybuilding is there's a lot of things with, image and things like that. Like, like I've always had my kind of own fashion. I've always kind of dressed like a 90s athlete, which I've liked.
Like an OG.
Which I've liked. I've just always liked it, where all of a sudden now it's cool again.
Sam's got the tailwinds on right now.
Well, yeah, like dude, even shoes, man. Like I've always been a,
I love that. I love that colorway. By the way, you are a fucking OG.
It's you I know you're a sneakerhead, and yeah, you see these kind of trends and stuff come through, but you were liking all this shit before it was cool.
Mm.
Like TNs are cool now.
Yeah. Where
TNs before when I was wearing them, it's like you're fucking your bike or something, or you're fucking
100%.
Whatever, I've just always liked TNs. I've always liked Jordans. I've always liked these things, but nowadays it's like this image that comes through that everyone has to kind of keep up with an image, and that's where I feel bodybuilding is kind of taken through social media as well.
The last prep that I did, I think, it was like 2017, right? And I didn't see one pair of Jordans in the gym apart from my crew, who were training with me, LeBrons, TNs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in the gym and, dude, I can't believe, even because I've been off social media, I got back on social media and all the bodybuilders are wearing Jordans. And I'm like, and Dunks, bad ones, I might add. They're not picking the right shit. Which is which gives them away straight away, hey? When
it's a give up. It's a fucking give up all day.
Yeah. It's like the starter pack shit. Yeah, that's that. And they're starting out. But yeah, it's true. Like and that's why I love. But dude, that's why I love those tailwinds so bad because it's funny. The last time I seen you were rocking TNs, and now all these kids are rocking TNs, and you're like, "Fuck it, switch it up, put on the tailwinds." They don't even know what the fuck that is. I remember Ronaldo.
Well, actually, no. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah,
tailwinds weren't. They're never like a TN, were they?
No, they weren't attuned. They came out around the same era, same period. They came out at the same time. They were like a 2.0 version. So it was like if you rocked a TN or you like the TNs, and then like the upgrade, like, oh, you think the TNs make you run fast? You should try Tailwind.
you still remember the ad?
Yeah, and that was it. And it's like I still remember the Nike swoosh ad, like the swoosh. People say in Australia they say tick, guys. It's a swoosh. Can you zoom in on my face? Can you see my eyes right now? It's a swoosh. It's not a tick.
Swoosh.
Okay, it's a swoosh. So the swoosh is the sound that someone makes when they run right past you. Swoosh. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's going back. That's the OG shit. I remember the commercials. And the tailwind came out just after, and it, typically the colors of the TN and the tailwind were like blues and yellows, which is why I love the blues you got on right now. That's OG as. And like, in the 90s, like all the hip hop artists, gangbangers, and all the heads of fashion were rocking tailwinds, TNs, Airbags 90s.
But you have a different array of fashion, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
What breathes you into your fashion sense that kind of goes from change to change to change, but it still relates? That's the other thing too. Where I can see the trend in it, where you kind of make the transition.
Yeah, it's just it's keeping it old school, keeping it real. I try and suit my the demographic, like my age. You know what I mean? I'm older now, so I try and keep it, my era for my people. You know what I mean? It does sort of, it's very bipolar. It goes, in and out from sport to like luxury streetwear. But Where I get it from is just it's my roots. It literally is my roots. It's how I grew up. It's where I'm from. It's who I am. It's the music I listened to, the company I kept, you know, the girls I fucked with. You know what I mean? Like that was it. That was what made, you know, my whole childhood. You know, and then you know I express that now with the way that I dress from my era. I try my hardest not to jump on these trends and stuff. I try and keep it real all the time.
I've only got really two trends, bro. I dress like a fucking 90s athlete, and if I go out, I try and look like Tony Soprano.
Yeah. Casino.
I watched Casino last night. I did.
I know you did.
I was waiting to watch the football and I got home and the casino was playing. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to watch the casino. I didn't go to bed till 11 o'clock. So I'm watching his fucking head being crushed by a vice.
Dude, I've been on some I was so excited about this podcast. Not taking away from the podcast I've been on some fucking big podcasts. This is actually the smallest podcast I've ever been on. Right.
Yeah, we're just starting out. Yeah. It'll become big one day.
Settle down. But what I'm saying is, and it's growing real fast, man. But this is the one I was excited to be on because you are the real deal, like for sure. And
Tony Soprano.
Yeah, dude. And that's, oh, dude.
I want to ask you something. You never competed as a bodybuilder.
No, unfortunately, fuck no.
Right. And man, you got great shape. I remember when you did your fucking front double bicep and your weigh-ins of your fights. Before I knew, I'm like, hey, this guy knows how to flex his quads. I teach guys like this for fucking weeks, and he's up there. You know, when fighters do it, they raise their shoulders and they go like that.
Yeah.
You know, you actually had it where you kind of lift it out and you lift it up, and you fucking got your quads shred. I'm like, this guy actually. I remember this way before I ever knew you, bro. I'm like, oh, this guy knows how to turn his quads on. But I didn't realize back then you were friends with like Luke Holiday-Smith and all them, so they've obviously told you what to do, how to do it.
They actually didn't. He was one of my sponsors. The company that he worked for was one of my sponsors. He was a cool guy, but I didn't even know at the time when I met him and they were sponsoring me, I didn't know he was you know, quite a good bodybuilder at the time. He was so in love with fighting. Like he just wanted to talk about fighting. With
you as a bodybuilder, why don't you go ahead with it?
Dude, I learned that long before fighting. I wanted to be. I seen Pumping Iron, bro. I watched Pumping Iron for the first.
Were you ever scared? Was Louis making you scared? You shaking your egg whites off the fork or what?
Louis. But no, I seen Pumping Iron for the first time, you know, and you know it was as satisfying to me as it coming. You know, when you're having sex with a woman and you're coming. So can you believe how much I'm in heaven? You know, I'm coming when I'm backstage.
Coming in the gym?
It's nothing stranger than hopping in a car and driving 5 seconds on the quarter mile.
But yeah, what was the reason behind? Because I mean,
so it's that's the thing, man. It's like I grew that love for bodybuilding and then went into fighting, but the reason I didn't make it to, I've always dreamed of being on the stage, bro. I always have, and I love the feeling I get from being in the gym and the process and everything like that. The reason I didn't make it to stage was, I think, you know, without saying too much, you know, I feel like I was very hard on myself. I feel like I was very, very hard on myself, and I feel like I didn't know enough about the process, the importance, what was important and what wasn't. It comes down to what was important and what wasn't, you know. And then you spoke to me early days of that prep and explained it all to me. And I thought you were just being too good. I thought you were being too much of a friend. I thought to myself, Sam's telling me this is my first show. Chill, man. Enjoy the process. Enjoy this. This means shit. This means nothing. We're going to train you. You want to train to go out there and win. But dude, this is what you want to do. You're going to be here for a very fucking long time. So just enjoy this, and how you fall is where you fall, you know. And this is the right mentality to give someone and fucking to all you coaches out there. This is the right mentality to give somebody. And fuck, sue me. Talk shit, I don't give a fuck. That is the right mentality to coach someone into their first show. That's the healthiest way. And people forget, and this is what it's about. It's about health. right? So that's the right way, right? So I just was like, this isn't Miss Military, you know, to me as what I'm used to, you know, and I thought, fuck, you know, I got to go harder than this, you know, and I got to do more than of this, and I got to do more of that. And I fell into, you know, the guidance in the hands of other people giving me their advices too. And instead of just listening to what was right, you know, the initial plan and sticking to that, it's really hard, man. You get distracted by all these other little things and people saying these different things, and what, you know, and I abused everything, and I amplified it by 1,000,000. And at the end of the day, fell into the hands of different people who were probably, you know, prepping me with a much more militant mentality, and a much more pro mentality coming into my first show. I just feel like that was too much. I just feel like I cooked myself emotionally, physically, mentally, chemically, and I wasn't feeling it, man. By the end of it, I had a lot of health issues. Myself all to blame. I should have fucking done the right thing. I should have listened to the closer people in my life. I should have listened to my friends. I should have listened to people I actually trusted, and I should have made some better decisions, did my own research, maybe just, you know, chilled into it like you told me at the very start, you know, and I should have done that. But, you know, I went too hard, you know, and I feel like I just made the wrong choices. I made the wrong choices. I listened to the wrong people, and I paid for that.
And you probably noticed as well when you started to compete and you started to bring out your physique a bit, like you said, other people in your ear.
100%.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yes. That's the thing, man. The skill is this, man. The skill is just anything in life when you're becoming good at it, man. It's like this social media, this Instagram and everything like that, like trying to promote, like trying to, you know, get the applaud, you know, for all this and the bullshit. Then you got, you know, the people talking and this and that. Like, giving a fuck does not pay off. You cannot give a fuck about what everyone else is saying and doing, you know, and I wish I had this, I wish I knew more. I wish I had this mentality where I could have just been switched off to all that shit, just stayed in my own fucking lane, done my thing, you know what I mean? I got caught up in all the riffraff and all the fucking hype of the first show, and people were fucking treating me like I was training for a fucking, like an Arnold's or something. Like,
that's because you've got quite a following.
Like I was a pro. That's the problem too, you know. So that's why recently I got off my social media completely. You know, that you know, all the followers would it was, you know, you buy into it. You know what I mean? You start. It's like you're like a worker bee for them now, or some shit. You know, and everyone sits there and go, I don't care what people think. I don't do this. You're full of shit. Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? Yeah, you fucking do.
You do.
You know what I mean? And that's it. And we all do. I know, because I'm mentally strong. You're mentally strong. I'm strong as, you know, and the hardest thing for me was just turning it off and getting off, you know, and doing that, you know. And I feel great now. I'm fucking the best I've ever been now. I hate it. And I see through the shit now. I see through the bullshit now. I'm on there now simply to laugh at the people that do care. Yeah. I just take the piss. And that's the thing. You tell me coming to the podcast today and I'm thinking, fuck, this is the first, like, when we talk, we talk about the most inappropriate shit and the funniest shit that we just talk about. Like, can people actually listen to a conversation? This is the most PG conversation you're going to hear from me and Sam Pearce. I promise you that.
That's true. I've got to agree there, yeah.
I was like, fuck, is this podcast just going to be silence? We're just going to be blinking at each other because no one's going to know what to say.
Well, it's to the point I even drove past the other day because I knew I was in the area. What did I do? Because I remember you called me and I was actually driving past. I was in Surface and you go, I'm working at Ace of Phase.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, yeah, actually, I'm just driving past. I'll just fucking see you quick. And then I saw you at the front. And because my daughter was in the car, you didn't know what we were going to talk about. So you go, oh, you get out of the car. Because you didn't want to talk. Because you know how we talk.
That's exactly why.
You're like, get out of the car. And you go, oh, so what's up? And I said, no, I was just going to say, you just want to come on the podcast. I haven't seen you in ages. We won't talk.
Yeah,
Save
exactly.
it for that.
Exactly, you know? 100%. Everything, that's what, And I was thinking, how's this podcast even going to go right now? Like, I thought it was just going to be silence the whole time.
Well, see, dude, here's the thing, right? Is that this is why I like to ask, because people are going to relate to that. Is bodybuilding my thing? Is my sport my thing? Is my career my thing? You know, business startup, all these things, are they your thing? You know, and you do have to realize that sometimes they're just not. Sometimes you can put yourself first and put everything into something. You know, it might not work out the way you wanted to work out too, you know, and, but the thing with you, dude, you've always been accountable to your own actions. You know, like you haven't sit there and blamed any of your coaches. You know, I'm sure when people say like, oh, when I say, why didn't you compete? Every person will say, oh, my coach did this, my coach did that, my coach did this. So-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. And every single thing you've said today is, that's my fault.
Well, at the end of the day, you make the decision.
But it's the same with everything. You know, you said that with fighting, you said that with playing football, you said with all these things, and just understanding that, you know, you can put your heart and soul into something. You might lose your passion for it. Some people out there just might not be good enough, you know, but you have to be accountable to yourself. That I find it's always my own fault. And then people say, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm like, no, it is. It's a much easier way to live when you can always be accountable to yourself.
100%.
There's no way you can come out and say, you know, blaming others. Like if I got a bad review from one of the staff members that work in the gym here, and I sent an email back and said, oh, sorry, that was fucking Donya, that, you know, that was her fault. They don't give a fuck, because when they go out and talk to people, it's Iron Asylum, not the lady that works behind the counter or the PT that's on the gym floor. It's Iron Asylum, and Iron Asylum is my brand, and that's what people will mask it as.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So for me, I think accountability is always a big one. It's always one thing that you have to kind of face yourself towards. You can't run from it, you know, and then, you know, you've been in situations before where, you know, you've been put on the spot. You've been put on the spot with the media and shit like that before as well. But you'll still always come out and say, yeah, no, this is me. I'm accountable for it. You never go, I've actually never heard you come out and, sure, like, you know, you might see something on social media and make fun of it and have a laugh, but I've never seen you directly talk shit about people.
No.
And then I also know there is people you could talk shit about right here, right now, or even when we're off air, but you still don't do it. And what's your reasoning behind that? How'd you learn to do that?
Well, dude, I used to be a big believer of talking shit about people.
Also, you used to talk shit about people.
Oh, dude, when I was young, when growing up, and you know, when you know.
But just to cut you off, this, I mean, like, maybe I have a different perception of talking shit. Like, I've seen you make fun of people, but like, I know you've made fun of people to their face anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. No. I never
talking shit is like, you know, me being nice to you right now, and then when you walk out, I go up to Lee and I go, he's a fucking shit cunt.
No, not at all. Fuck. I just keep it simple, man. If I don't like someone, I have nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? That's it. And then I've got no shit to talk. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm talking shit to someone, I'm like, you know, they're present. You know what I mean? Like, if you're talking about like behind their back, like, there's no point in doing that. There is no point in doing that. Doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? If anything, it only says I'm a fucking idiot because I know this person and I'm spending time with this person, and now I'm telling you that I don't like this person that I'm spending time with. And that's just that makes me look stupid. And I am stupid if that's the case, you know, but no, I just cut that shit out of my life. I learned to just cut that shit out of my life. Like, once again, dude, I think you were one of the people that taught me that. Like, I don't know whether that's why you asked me the question right now, but it's just a trick question, but I'm pretty sure you were the one that taught me that.
Really?
Yeah. I remember you being very, 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 when I first met you in 2016 or 15, and you were the biggest fucking polar bear looking fucking Sasquatch looking fucking.
Had hair back then.
Dude. You know, in World Gym, and you were, all redded out, just fucking all redded out, Under Armour, red on red on red on red, fucking LeBron James, high tops on, fucking, I think you had like a red sweat cap on, which is like almost like a do-rag without the tie up, like just like the skull cap.
Still got I only wear the skull caps in prep.
And dude, you just looked like someone, I thought like, is this, like, I remember thinking like, is that fucking Branch Warren's little brother? And then I remember there just being like this like huge like controversy around you. Like, oh, he's really there. And people were talking a lot of shit like, oh, this, he's rude, he's arrogant, he won't coach you, he won't do this, he's fucking bad person. I heard, some like, I won't repeat over this microphone, but there was some gangster shit, there was, I know you came from a pretty violent street background, I know you worked in the night scene and stuff like that. I've heard, I've heard, you've got a few stars in the public bathrooms of the nightclubs. I think you've had a few fucking knockout wins yourself in there, and I think you held the title on surface on that main strip. Yeah, you held the belt for a few years, and I heard all that stuff, back then, and then I met you, and I was like, people talk so much fucking shit, man.
They do, bro.
And then I remember you going to me, man, and I remember you having the biggest smile on your face, going, "Yeah, bro, bro, I don't even care, eh?" One of the things you learn about me, Jules, and I think you were eating at the time, and you were just so big, and just look at you, and I think you were just eating like you had. Bro, one of the things you learn about me, bro, I don't give a fuck about what anyone says, bro. Just show my lane. Ignore everything's going on. Just do right. One thing you got to learn, Jules, is that there's only some things you can have control over. And the things that I can't have no control over, I don't even think about. Because why? I got no control over them.
I think I do.
I remember you saying that to me. And I was in a fight camp at the time. And I remember thinking like, fuck. I remember thinking, he's right, and I spent more time with you. I had a few meal preps written up from you for my fights, and you'd been good to me, really good to me, absolute fucking gentleman to me, big friendly bear. And it was just, I remember realizing straight away that, dude, he didn't buy into it. And that was one of the things I admired. And I was like, dude, that's gangster athlete mentality right there. That's gangster athlete mentality. And then I remember thinking, I want to be more like that, and that was probably one of the things. It was probably,
I think the what do you call it? The gangster mentality. It's a good one. Any real hardcore gangster that I've ever met or come across, right? You would never know that.
Yeah, 100%.
Like some of the most violent people I've ever met. You would never know that. The other thing too is that when you hear people talk, especially in the fitness realm, and I've had multiple weapons pulled upon me. I've been pulled in situations. I've had a gun pulled on me. And when you realize there's bigger and badder people out on the earth, I think the gangster mentality is knowing that you're not the biggest, baddest cat out there. You have to know when to take a knee, and you have to know that there's some serious people out there that's not in your realm. I'm just a bodybuilder, just because I've met people and know people and whatever in the realm that, I lived in the Gold Coast a long time. People have come and gone. Met a lot of good people, met a lot of bad people, but they've always been good to me. It doesn't mean I'm mates with them. Doesn't mean I'm, and you just kind of realize that in the world where people talk shit, like the talking shit stuff, when you see what can actually happen, when someone talks shit, you don't tend to really buy into it, because if you were to talk shit about the wrong person, you can see what actually happens to the wrong person. You know what I mean? And that's why for me, I can just kind of sit there, and when I've heard, I remember one prep I did, this dude comes up and he goes, "Man, you're competing in 4 days. How you feeling?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm fine." He goes, how you feeling after everything? Everything all right? So what do you mean? He goes, oh, dude, I heard you had a double kidney bypass. And you know me, like when I see an opening, I take the shit out of, I take the bullshit out of people. And I sit there.
I remember this rumor. I remember the rumor.
And I sit there and I go, oh fuck, man, I'm all right. Like I went with it. I'm pretty tough, but hey, like I did a whole double kidney bypass. I'm still competing. And he didn't realize I was taking the piss. He goes, yeah, man, like you're a fucking animal. Like, you sure you want to keep doing this? I'm like, dude, can you not tell I'm taking the fucking piss? You're going to be standing here in the fucking gym after a fucking double kidney bypass. I don't even know what a fucking double kidney bypass is.
I fucking remember the rumor, man.
You know what I mean? Like
I remember hearing it. I remember hearing it and thinking, what do you mean? He's just standing over there. Eating.
You know, and that's what I mean. Like the thing is, as I said, like, you know, it's kind of like the thing when I said to you with the bodybuilders, you know, like there's better bodybuilders out there. And when you see people talk shit and oh, he's this and the rumors of this and, you know, this stuff comes back to me. It's like, I'm not saying I'm too big to listen. I'm just too big to pay attention, you know, and for me, that's why I just never really bought into it, because it's the same stuff that circles. And for me, if people aren't talking about you positive or negative, that's when you should be worried. 100%. That's when you should be worried, because that's when you disappear into a realm and you don't matter to anyone. They only ever talk about people above them. Like look at I don't know her name, but the Johnny Depp and that other chick, whatever.
Yeah.
People are talking about them because they're above us in the food chain with money and fame and whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. They don't talk about you or I, because we're down the fucking bottom of the food chain to them. They don't matter. We don't matter to them.
I disagree.
Right? So my point is, what I'm trying to get across is that people only talk about the people above them.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So when people are doing stuff and whatever controversy it might be.
It's always, yeah, 100%.
And that's why when I said to you that day, I can't really remember what it was, but yeah, you know, when I say that, I've said it to a lot of people and they can't really understand it because they still get caught up with it all, you know? Like
I remember thinking, he's like, he actually doesn't give a shit. And I remember thinking, how do you not give a shit? And I'm 33 right now. I'm turning 34 and I've only just stopped giving a shit, dude. I don't know how. And this was like 2016, and I was like, it's a fucking skill, man. It really is, and people need to focus more on that, learning that because this is getting harder. It's getting harder to stay, you know, positive. It's getting harder, you know, today to be ahead, to get ahead, and to stay ahead. To not find these distractions, these little detours, these bumps in the road that can knock you down, and you know, you got to get up and you got to keep going. And it's a skill that no one's really believing in, practicing in. It's a skill that you can't flex. It's a skill that we can't post. It's a skill that we can't show it off. It's within us, and these are the real skills to have. There's shit that no one can see, you know, and it's something within that then you will see without it in you know, and you won't have anything without getting right inside first.
I see stuff on social media and they post something and I just read the complete opposite to what they're saying because I know that's exactly how they're feeling.
Yes. Probably.
It's so easy to see. Like I just see through it all.
Yeah.
And my man, this dude's doing it real hard.
People need to have
and then they get really surprised when I send them a message and say, hey man, I'm just reaching out. I hope you're all right. I do it all the time. You know, for me, I never had that coming up as a competitor.
Yeah.
And I'll just get this random message from us, hey, dude, I can tell you're a bit off at the moment, everything's all right. They just put up this positive post about, oh, yeah, life's this and I'm doing this. It's all about perception. And I'm, you know, watching the fucking sunrise, you know, life's this. And it's like, you're fucking miserable. So I sent him a message.
It's so true,
you know,
man.
Oh, man, I didn't even appreciate it so much, man. I didn't think anyone, I'm like, yeah, I don't talk about the post. But you just call them straight away, and that's why I always try to.
I'm agreeing with you right now, because I've done it. I've been that person. You know what I mean? I've done that. I can sit here and say that I've done that. You know what I mean? Many times. Majority of my fucking life, as social media life, has been that. It's bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You know.
Social media is the famous line that I've always said when you order your fucking Big Mac on the screen at McDonald's and when it actually comes out, the reality versus the expectation. That's what social media is, and unfortunately, that's why for me I try to come across in a bit of a role modeling role in the industry now, where I want to give back with these podcasts. I want to give back with my content. I want to give back with my personal stories, not too much my past, because we try to keep it as PG in some areas. But
I'll shut you down.
Yeah.
Cut off.
But look, my point is that, I try to give back because I didn't have that coming up. I had a dude like John Davey who was always in my corner believing in me, who I looked up to and kind of aspired to be, but I didn't have anyone like in the industry at that time in the trenches doing it.
Yeah.
Knowing on the spot where, like when he was competing, he was in the US competing with all the, the top guys in the 90s. They were just feeding off each other. It was cool back then, but like now when I'm there, like I see there is so much more depression. There is so much more, body dysmorphia and all these things that coming out with people, and it's just very fake. And I see the hurt and I see the pain that people are going through. And I know that someone like me just sending them a quick message to say, hey, dude, hope you're doing all right. Yeah. They know I see straight through the shit. I don't have to say anything else. They're just like, fuck, this guy knows. He can see straight through it.
Yeah.
And I wish I had that. I wish I had that things, because although you can say these things that I'm strong or whatever and things don't affect me, things still affect me, man. Things still affect me when I came up in my early 20s and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I just wish I kind of had that person to kind of reach out and say, oh, yeah, I can see what you're doing. It doesn't fly past me. I hope you're all right. And I always think it always comes around in the future. I always send out messages to people now and make my time to talk to them, or if I see them in the gym or in public. People say, why do you spend so much time talking to people? It's like, well, I might have had a long day, but people portray me as a certain character. And if that's the character I'm going to be, I need to portray that character. That's why I like to spend a lot of time on my own when I'm away from everyone. So that way when I go to a shopping centre, I'm not working. I'm not going to tell someone to fuck off because I'm not working. I can be the person, the role model I want to be, so you're not disappointed when you meet your heroes. Like, how many heroes have you met in the fighting world that are fucking complete fucking wankers? Dude, backstage
there's only one person that wasn't a complete fucking wanker, and it was John Jones.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
But, I remember a lot of pro bodybuilders I met, and I met him, like, he's a fucking cockhead. You know? Like, and for me, I never want to be that person. At the end of the day, although I don't give a fuck what people think about, I still like to have a caring reputation for everyone coming up, and I like to be supportive. I don't want to be arrogant. I want to take a genuine interest, and, I want to be able to give back. So if I see someone in a shopping centre, I want to take the time and have a quick conversation and continue to roll through. So I think that, you do have to have some sort of a positive reputation, but at the same time, when people do talk shit, fuck what they think, because you should be alpha enough to believe in yourself and your own morals and capabilities.
Yeah, 100%. 100. I totally agree with that.
So what's next for Jules besides the secret project?
Secret project is everything. Secret project is everything.
I love it.
And I'm excited about it, dude. I haven't even shared it with you yet.
Yeah, I know.
So the secret project is everything, man. And
when we get off air, I'm not even going to ask.
It's because you're a good friend.
Because I like the suspense.
And you know what? Dude, I'm actually, we'll keep it a secret. You've
even had me go on there for a second.
Yeah.
But you were never going to tell us anyway.
No, I don't think so. No, not on here. Not on here.
Dude, look, it was a pleasure having you on
Thank
today.
you so much, bro.
I wanted people to see the insight of someone that's had a bit of a dabble with everything, who's got a very colourful life like myself, a strong, tough upbringing. I don't want people to understand and relate to you, because there is a lot of people listening that have been put in that situation. They're scared to take leaps of faith into their own realm because they might have pressure on their parents, pressures from their sponsors, and they might be good at a certain sport and they want to go do something else. They might be over something. It doesn't matter what it is, but, we're all human. We all make these decisions, whether they work out for the best of us or they work out as mistakes. you've been in the high spots and you've been in the low spots. But at the end of the day, you can still walk away from things. That's Alfie snoring. You can still walk away from today and how I see you as, and why I choose to keep you in my close circle of life is because I see you breed happiness. You know, for someone like myself who apparently keeps their mind very strong, the key to all of this is remaining happy and content within yourself. So it's a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you, brother.
And until next time, we're out.